Whew! You will have one hell of the armor. Haha! We are going into territory of Ayana again, god damn it. I was fixing Ayana. This is like the grip of the true master. We don't really have a reason. Does Chachamaru knows Hikaru? This thing should be known to like the whole city in the matter of minutes. The same thing that he said to Ichijo. You cannot fight. Well, you can still stab someone, I guess. He splitted the helmet before? Hello and welcome, PocketWatch here, and it's about time for another episode of Muramasa. And I'm kinda recording this episode by total accident, by fate, I would say, because this is literally like, I'm literally like 3 episodes ahead of what I'm going to upload today. Today or tomorrow I will upload episode 39, and I was today like, I had no idea what I should record. Like, I have everything prepared and like, what should I do? So I just throw the dice, and it said that I should read Muramasa, so why the fucking not? Let's just go, it should be fun. So, I hope, like last episode, nothing too stressful will happen. And if it is, then it will just like, oh, my microphone was like booted up in the wrong place, so, okay. Yeah, I have some of like neck pain, so I hope Muramasa will not add any additional pain to me today. That's my only like, I don't know. Anyway, let's just go. I'm very weird today, so I'm sorry if this commentary will be like very like widely going around different like weird stuff, so let's just go. The Yoshino Onryu Kasen Reiho is the material art for Musha. Back when Minato was still a warrior clan, it was passed down with a tsurugi to each clan leader. The main family ended this practice when Minato lost its warrior status. Since then, it has been tradition for men of the Minato branch family, husbands or male children of priestess, to inherit the school instead. Okay. As an art intended for Musha, its true worth is in airborne tsurugi combat. However, that is not its sole application. An initiate in the Yoshino Oryu first studies swimming, hand-to-hand combat, and swordsmanship. Only after mastering those basics is he permitted to don a tsurugi and begin the final phase of his training. On the whole, far less time is spent on tsurugi practice than on anything else. While this might seem strange to an outsider, it is in fact a common thread in schools of Musha combat. The Yoshino Onryu may not be famous, but it is as orthodox as they come. Yeah, that's true. Like in literally any sport, like the most important thing are the basics. Like, if you cannot do basics properly, then how you want to achieve anything else properly? If you make a mistake in basic move, then your whole like intermediate or master move will also have a flow of that basic move, because you just stepped like a little bit too far to the left. Because that's how you make mistakes. This lack of emphasis on airborne training is due entirely to the difficulty involved. While group drills have become the rule since the advent of mass-produced kazuichi, for most of history it was exceedingly rare for a warrior house to own more than one tsurugi. This made it impossible for masters to train young Musha in aerial combat directly, as would have been ideal. In other fields, this would be an insurmountable obstacle. That word! Holy shit! How long would it take to teach a man to sail if you had only one boat between two of you, and that boat were only large enough for one? Yeah, that's true. But if you look through the historical record, you find that was not a significant problem for Musha schools. There were failures, of course. I've heard of trainees who had mastered the basics, but who, when it came to a Don Tsurugi, were unable to function in the sky. This is also the case. It's not like mastering the basics will also make you like master in the sport, or in this case in the fight, basically. But you will less likely do any mistakes if you master the higher levels, basically. But such cases are rare. 9 times out of 10, a warrior who had completed the basic training regimen is able to grasp the fundamental of aerial combat without any direct instruction from his master. Through hand-to-hand combat, you learn to control your body. Through swimming, you learn to think and move in 3 dimensions. Through armored wall swordsmanship, you will learn how to fight when outfitted with a tsurugi. Pretty smart. The final comprehensive test is an underwater mock battle in a full armor dress. Holy shit, okay. Someone who has passed this test will not find themselves disoriented when they take to the air. There's a world of difference in speed, of course, but the feeling is much the same. At least, that's the commonly accepted theory. As I myself have never equipped a tsurugi, I'm in no position to speak to its veracity. A fact that is unlikely to ever change. The Minato family no longer has warrior status, therefore cannot legally own a tsurugi. Every little hope of ever acquiring actual piloting experience. If this is Minato like Kageyaki, whew, you will have one hell of the armor. These days, after basic training is completed, the secret techniques of tsurugi combat are taught merely as a formality. The apprentice is then said to have mastered the Yoshinra Onryu. Perhaps it is irrelevant to keep calling ourselves a Musha school under those circumstances, but then I am a little concerned with how the world views us. The Yoshinra Onryu teaches unarmored martial arts as part of its curriculum, and this is what I needed now. I swing my 10-kilogram wooden sword in a single smooth arc from upper right to lower left. How heavy are wooden swords? Is this like... I assume this sword is like intentionally heavier than usual wooden sword would be. Like there's no way that these things like are normally 10 kilograms, right? I do not perform a step in. My position remains unchanged throughout the motion. I reset my blade above my right shoulder, then repeat the original strike. This is the most basic experience in the Yoshinra Onryu, the falling slash from the right Jodan being the standard form of Musha combat. In schools of unarmored swordsmanship, Jodan commonly refers to an overhead hold. In Musha schools, however, a sword to shoulder position is considered Jodan. The reason for this is simple. In a tsurugi, a helmet obstructs the overhead hold. If you have to worry about catching your arms on the sides of your helmet, you will not be able to generate enough force to cut through the enemy armor. Makes sense. The lack of step in, too, reflects the peculiarities of the Musha combat. There's no question that the weight shift provided by the step in greatly increases the force of your strike. But of course, that's only relevant on the ground. That's true, and if you're like in the air, it's just like you're just smashing on each other basically. So you just need like this basic motion, because you will just hit your enemy anyway. In the air, force is generated by flight speed, a function of engine output, wing control and altitude. Legwork plays no work and no role. Sorry. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. God damn it, I was 10 minutes in and I just like asked this question to myself. Whew, that was like weird. A Musha ground bound training must cultivate those qualities that will also be of use in the sky. Those being strength and speed in the upper body, hence the exercise I'm performing now. My swing is aided primarily by breathing cycle. As I raise my sword, I inhale deeply, letting the air fill my lungs and expand my chest. I then strike with a single, explosive exhaltation, my chest collapsing against my spine. This exercise is designed with aerial combat in mind, but that does not but that does not necessarily mean that it has no worth on the ground. Yeah, pretty much. Practitioners of unarmed swordsmanship often took down on the strength-focused Musha style, claiming that the sword should be swung with the weight of the body, not the muscles of the arms and torso. And it's also true that Musha techniques lacks the finesse of schools that specialize in unarmed combat. Yeah, I can see that. Also, I don't know, I still feel... Haha, we are going into territory of Ayana again, god damn it. We're talking about... But come on, we're talking about unarmored... I mean... unarmored combat, right? And without weapons, hand-to-hand combat. In some parts of this. So... I just have like Ichijo in my head, like... I don't know why... I mean, it makes sense that she used sword back then. Because this Tsurugi probably had a sword on him. But I still think that Ichijo in Masamune should use just hand-to-hand combat or mainly hand-to-hand combat, because this is what she was like learned. This is what like she was taught and what she learned basically. But I will not see that, and I will experience it like next time when I finish the road I'm on right now, I guess. Unless for some reason I will decide to make Ayana Road the last one, because if I'm correct, there are 3 roads I can take. I think, maybe? Probably I'm right. Well, we'll see. I mean, the best for last, yeah? That would be like... pretty good. A famous story tells of a Musha, undefeated in the air, who challenged an elderly master of the sword to an unarmed duel and was promptly beaten senseless by the old man walking stick. This is like typical master and a master student like thing in this kind of stories. Like the guy was just like old and just beating you with the stick. There are many stories like this, but one must always remember that they speak of masters, and that true masters are few and far between. This time, I step into my swing, adding the weight of my body to the strength of my arms, chest and back. My sword claves the air like a guillotine blade. A sharp tug with my wrist stops its scans millimeters above the floor. I analyze the sensation, lingering in my arms and fingers. Good. Against an enemy with a weapon of equivalent mass, I'm confident that the force of the strike could overpower any defense. I see no reason to fear that its raw power might be neutralized or countered by some death stroke. That feat is much more difficult than the stories make it to seem. Only a master or a fool would attempt it, and I don't expect that. I should have the face either here. Also, if Hikaru never had this kind of training, because as we can see, she's like ill and she was like basically not allowed to have Musha training, then how the fuck she got so strong and skilled with the sword? Like, we had this, you remember that in chapter 2, I think. Yeah, I think it was chapter 2, when we followed Sorimachi, and Minato was like, holy shit, he's so good like Hikaru. Like, he used the sword. So I wonder, like, how it happened that Hikaru got so strong in the swordsmanship. It might be just... Okay, I think that they just will like... just heal Hikaru just like that. They will call this doctor or whatever. He will just heal her, she will like get better, and she will be then accepted to basically train, and she will be just like prodigy basically. I think that's what will happen. Probably. A Musha strike may be inelegant an exercise of brute force, but force is the simplest kind of power. The kind that anyone can come to understand and wield. The technique pursued by the anonymous schools is complex. Mastering it may make you invincible, but this requires decades of study and absolute dedication to the art. If you think of force and technique as tools, then the question becomes which is better suited to your purposes. One is only necessary superior to the other. And besides, while they may not be as subtle or profound as those practiced by anonymous schools, Musha schools have their own techniques, and many of these can be applied on the ground as well as in the sky. Without his wings, the dragon is but a snake. Nice. I like that quote, actually. This saying is a favorite of those who disparage Musha schools, but I do not believe it to be true. It may just be bias on my part, I suppose. Honestly, there's little reason for a man who will never be a Musha to study Musha swordsmanship. It would have made more sense for me to enter an unarmored school, but who was to admit this? That his 20 years of training were for nothing. 20 years of training, so how old is he in this time? He's not in his 30s, so he started training before 10. So like, I don't know, like 6 years old maybe? Or 7, so that would make Kageyaki 26, 27, something like that. It's not as far as if I can turn back the clock, and even if I could, it was always my duty to inherit the arts of the Minato family. I never had a choice to begin with. If the Yoshino Onryu is the only school available to me, then I must find some meaning in it, for the sake of my mental stability, if nothing else. Of course, if I need more confidence than wishful thinking can provide, I know where to find it. Brute force. The great masters may regard it with contempt, but I know that what can happen when it's taken too far. I wipe the sweat from my eyes and turn to the far corner of the dojo. There, atop a small cushion, sits a heavy metal helmet. A helmet is split neatly down in the middle, slide by half a single stroke. This is the technique that Minato mentioned during the fight with Sorimachi. It was during that fight, right? The kabutawari? Something like that? Something with kabuto, because kabuto is a helmet. It's been like that for a year now. There's been no time to take it to the blacksmith or repair. 1 year. Yeah, 1 year since that day. Yeah, it was Hikaru who did that, yeah. We had these flashbacks. Also, I like this. Look how she holds the sword. She's not using muscles or anything. She's just going to like swing it with its own weight and add a little bit of speed with her whole body, probably. This is like the grip of the true master, basically. And she's basically keeping it in like one hand. She's just like stabilizing it with the top of her like hand here. This is interesting. Also, can we admit that she's here like she can like swing the full like sword, and katanas are not light. Even from behind, the sight of her was beautiful. Her posture was strong yet supple, her aura fierce yet serene. Every quality that defines a swordsman was present in her at that moment, each in its ideal proportion, lacking nothing. Okay, and also I was wrong that she was not allowed to have a training, so sorry about that. I was wrong, and I'm totally stupid because I forgot about the fucking flashbacks of her, of this scene. Yeah. You can just like spam F if you want in the comments.
打ち込むのは無理だな。
Yeah. Were I to have struck from behind without warning, she would have swatted me aside without effort or thought. Only 2 years after I began Hikaru training, and already her skill had grown to surpass mine. Okay, so she is like real fucking prodigy. So I suppose she was my superior from the start. The old master would not have allowed Hikaru to enter the Yoshino Orinu. Tradition prevented it. Yeah, that's what I thought, actually. Like I said, like she was not allowed. If not for what happened after he denied her first request. Her interest uncouth. She sat in my practice, observed my techniques. Then 3 days later, defeated me in the duel. Okay. You know what it, like, gives me vibes of? I already mentioned that anime before, when we had the Love of Sorimachi. It really gives me vibes of Katanagatari. It's not a spoiler really. It's like kind of like trivia for the character, I guess. Like, main character have a sister as well, and she's basically prohibited of like learning the martial art that the main character is like learning and stuff, because it was like a male stuff and etc etc. And she only watched everything, and she can like learn basically anything and be even stronger than the original user. So yeah, she just like observed trainings and stuff, and she's just like OP. So yeah, pretty much Hikaru. Also, probably no one watched that anime. Let me know in the comments if you watched Katanagatari actually. That's kinda old, and I wouldn't say like it was great, it was just okay. I think that was good, because I think the last episode justifies this anime basically. Like, it's average, but the last episode makes it great. Anyway, let's continue with Muramasa. Yeah. Even considering my merely average skill, the talent she showed in this was beyond measure. The old master had no choice but to grant her wish. For the moment, her formal training began. Hikaru progressed through the circle with unbelievable speed. Now, only 2 years later, she stood at the brink of full mastery. Okay, so she actually became a master. In truth, I can hardly call myself her teacher. This is someone who was able to dissect and neutralize my hard-earned techniques after only 3 days of quiet observation. It's safe to say that for every one thing I taught her, she learned 10. It reminded me of saying, even a kite can give a birth to an eagle. Though, and in this case, it's more like the eagle simply took up residence in the kite's roost. In short, I played the role in the birth of the prodigy, Minato Hikaru. The pride I felt that day, and still feel now, was that of a brother with talented sister, not of a master who had raised a brilliant pupil. Great. I really like that monologue of Kagayaki. For her last lesson, however, I had to play the role of the master, it being a matter not of skill, but of mind. Hikaru's form suddenly blurred, her strike faster than I could see. Her weapon was a battle-ready, sort of standard design. Her target, a steel helmet. Kabutawari, yeah, kabutawari. So I was close. Oh, she was unable to do this? Seems like it.
見事。
Okay, she was actually able to. That was the least I could say. Her strike left nothing to be desired. And yet, the dull clank ringing in my ears was exactly what I expected to hear. Oh, okay. Yeah, because this is the technique that no one is supposed to, like... This is a legendary technique, right? Like, you are not supposed to, like, ever learn this. Really? So it was expected to like her having like perfect form, perfect strength, and a strike, but still not split that. Okay. So who splitted that helmet though? Then she had failed. The helmet was still whole. I moved to Hikaru's side and examined her weapon. The sword was badly damaged, at the end of several millimeters, right in the center of Monouchi.
また俺飛ぶだろうと思っていたが、無名の割に名刀だ。実は名のある刀工の策なのかもしれん。
Yeah.
そうだな。刀はいい。光の腕が足らぬ。
Blaming herself. This is interesting. Like, she's like the best out of best there, and she still wants more. I guess this is like Ginseigo trait as well. I mean, about the eggs and what we learned in the like episode 3, that she gave eggs to basically people who wants power. So that kinda makes sense why Hikaru goes into contact with Ginseigo. I could hear her teeth grinding as she sheathed her sword. The motion was as fluid as ever, an impressive display of self-control. But at the end, Guard met Shiv with a sharp cluck, a tiny glimpse of frustration boiling inside her. Drops of sweat fell from her hair to the dojo earthen floor. She's clearly put everything she had into that strike. With time and effort, anyone can build enough stamina to swing a sword 1,000 times. But to pour stamina of 1,000 strikes into a single mighty blow, that requires talent. I have wow, I have chills actually about this. Wow. Not really like... Not much is happening? But this is fucking amazing actually. Thank you, dice roll, for choosing Muramasa. If I've chose Umineko, my brain would be probably destroyed because I cannot think today clearly, and Umineko requires my brain to just go outside of boundaries of reality and everything I know. Like, what the fuck? Ugh. This is like more air-free. I can think about Muramasa. Kinda. Probably. At least about swords I can. Thinking her pale face and the labored breathing, I found myself out anew by the death of my sister's kill.
それが小田か。
Yeah. Okay. She was struggling with her own thoughts amid exhaustion, her gaze focused entirely upon the helmet, still in one damnable piece atop its pedestal. Not undamaged, of course, but the shallow cut in its crown was hardly enough to comfort her.
足りぬ。
What do you want to achieve? Like... See, this is my, like, kinda problem with her character. And in Ginseigo, I hope I will have some answers, because we don't really have a reason for anything she's doing. Like, basic reason why she wants to be stronger and stronger. Like, you are best of the best here. Like, what's your end goal? What you want to achieve at this point? She's not even in, like, pact with Ginseigo basically yet. So she's not even crazy. What's your goal? Like, end game goal? Like, why are you doing this?
力が足りぬ。
Too weak to what? Like, what you want to do?
最後の試しでこのように手間取り、無様を晒すとは。俺はこの2年。
And she's being depressed over this. The shame in her voice was profound. For a moment, I feared that she would slit her belly then and there.
どうも慢心していたようだ。すまない、影明。
謝る必要などない。俺もお前と同じように。いや、 それ以上にこの最後の試しには手こずった。
Also, I just realized something, like... before recording this episode, I think I realized it like 2 days ago or something. I had a moment when I was like creating basically Kemono Mimi characters from Muramasa and posting them on Discord. Yeah, I was fixing Ayane and stuff. And I just like... I opened like Chashamaru wallpaper and I just realized that Hikaru looks kinda like the character that was like next to Chachamaru and that was like drinking a like tea or something. Like the resemblance was striking. The hair was a little bit different, but everything that was like the same. I wonder if that was like actually Hikaru, or if she like, does Chachamaru knows Hikaru? Or she was like incognito there, maybe she's like having a double life now? It might be also just, you know, like, they just made a similar character for the background, because why not? But maybe I'm onto something, maybe I am. Don't spoiler me, but maybe I am. I will say I am. Because that's what I believe in. Yes. I said this episode will be weird.
あの時ダメにしてしまった刀が総額でいくらになるのか、父に聞くのが怖いな。
No response, not even a smile. The poor quality of my attempt at levity was not entirely to blame. More than that, she had lost her usual aplomb. My heart ached to see her that way. I understood the reasons for what I had to do, but the fact still remains that I was deceiving my sister. The kabutawari is the final test, administered to those who seek accreditation in the Yoshino Onryu. Oh, okay, so this is... Okay, so I was wrong again. So this is not something that you are not supposed to achieve, this is something you are supposed to achieve to get the master title, basically. Wow, I'm making so many mistakes today. The disciple is given a sword of hard-forged razor-sharp steel, then told to split a helmet in half with it. What she's not told, however, is that this is impossible. Okay, so I was actually right. God damn it, Muramasa. You know what, that's actually a problem with me, right? Like, I'm talking about something and the next literally sentence, the game is just destroying my mind. Maybe I should like stop talking. The helmet cannot be clowned in two. Throughout history, many famous swordsmen have attempted this extraordinary display of strength and precision. Some of them even succeeded. I could also potentially do the stream from Muramasa, like read it live with you. But there's like a high probability, very high probability, that something not safe for work will show up suddenly on the screen, so I don't want to risk this. Unless there will be some parts that like are 100% safe. But I don't know when that will be. If there will be. Anyway. But success in the kabutawari does not mean splitting the helmet in half. Even the great Sakakibara Kenkichi, who performed the kabutawari before the emperor himself, managed only to cut 9 centimeters into the helmet crown. This is what most people mean when they speak of kabutawari. A cut of that depth is more than enough to kill the man wearing the helmet, and no amount of strength or talent will allow you to accomplish more. It has been proven, time and again, that the perfect kabutawari, the very act that was being demanded of Hikaru, is beyond human abilities. But somehow it happened. To make matters worse, whereas Sakakibara and his peers demonstrated their prowess on infantry helmets. The Yoshino Onryu requires its disciples to strike against the helmet of a dead Tsurugi. Oh, okay. A remnant of the armor once piloted by the leader of the Minato clan. Okay. It may have lost supernatural power, but it is still harder than most substances known to man. I doubt that even a tank could crush it beneath its threads. How can a mere human hope to clave it in two? Yeah, how the fuck Hikaru will do that? That's a good question. The task is impossible. Utterly impossible. I had asked my sister to do something that could not be done. I looked away, unable to bear the sight of her in pain. Outside the window, a swallowtail butterfly was flitting about the branches of the cypress tree. I remember thinking it callous for being there carefree, but I suppose it was foolish to expect a butterfly to take an interest in human troubles. Also, let me just do a quick note, because I think I know what kind of title I want to give to this episode, and I will probably forget what it is later on, so I will just call this episode Kabutawari. Simple, effective, and good, and feels mysterious, and even full of power. Kabutawari is impossible, yes, but then splitting the helmet is not actually necessary. Student passes the test by surrendering to it, by admitting that some things in this world are simply beyond him or her. So if she not admits that, that means she cannot become a master. That's what they mean basically, because this is the, like they said, the mind test, right? Like the wisdom. You need to have a wisdom to back off from stuff that you cannot do, like that's not humanly possible. Also, something may happen, and I will not like make this episode with a name Kabutawari, but something else. But I don't know what will happen. Maybe something will happen, maybe not. Why am I talking like some random bullshit? This is like 40 minutes, what the fuck? Stop. The Yoshino Onryu, for all its harsh training, does not seek to create superhuman warriors, but warriors who understand that no matter how great their skill, their talent or their power, they can never be more than human. This final lesson, set down by the school founder, is meant to impose a single admonition: be not proud. I wholeheartedly agree with the founder intent, but still. Yeah, she's too proud for that.
Hikaru.
I could feel my tongue loosening in my mouth, but it is forbidden to speak of the truth behind the test. I've heard that more flexible-minded individuals are able to reach the answer in only a few days. For someone as even as Hikaru, however, it would not be that simple. The greater one talent, the longer it takes. So my father told me. I thought that Hikaru might find this task more difficult than any she had faced in her life, which in sense made it perfect for her final test. I agree. Essential though it may be for a swordsman to rid himself of conceit as the person responsible for administrating the test. I couldn't help but feel that I was doing something unscrupulous, even cruel. Fortunately, the end was in sight. Hikaru already admitted to hubris and was beginning to understand her limits. Her stubbornness may have taken a little more time to crack, but I knew it wouldn't be much longer before she found the humility that the school founder desired of his successors. I needed only to have a faith in my sister's character. Something was not at all difficult to do.
あまり思い詰めるな。物事に行き詰まった時は一度力を抜いて視点を変えてみるのもいい。これはこうと思い込んでしまわぬことだ。
Okay. Also, I'm surprised, you know? I'm really surprised that this last test did not leaked anywhere. This thing should be known to like the whole city in the matter of minutes after the first person pass it. And she don't know this. Like, none of the students know the real purpose about this test until they'll pass it. And no one ever told anyone that. There's no way that will happen. That's why you can see that this is a fantasy world. I'm sorry. I wanted to help, but I couldn't be any more direct without violating the parameters of the test. Perhaps I was being teased too, in a sense.
父の言葉を借りて言えば、刀は硬いのみならずだ。硬い刃の下に柔らかい芯を込めて、初めて豪獣兼ね備えた折れない刀が出来上がる。
Huh. Oh, that's a real. Oh wow. He's giving her a hint. Wow, this is so good. He's basically telling her she's like a katana. The same thing that he said to Ichijo. Like, Ichijo was flat, she's flat, they katanas, right? And she's like supposed to like just bend to this like helmet, right? Because the sword will not break, it will just bend. And it's better to like bend than break. I mean, you can still fight. If it just bends, then you can fight. If it breaks, you cannot fight. Well, you can still stab someone, I guess, but yeah.
この間出張のついでに会った俺に聞かされた言葉だが、思えばあれはお前への伝言だったのかもしれない。
父か。
Yeah.
ああ、ヒカルはまだ会ったことがなかったな。
How is that even possible? What is going on in this family? Hikaru's voice was strangely flat. I don't know whenever it was because she didn't feel anything regarding her father, or because she didn't know what to feel. Either way, it broke my heart. Hikaru's father, Subaru's husband, and my foster father was no longer part of the Minato family. Oh! So he's like exiled or something. Why? He and the old master had been prone to disagreement, and he was forced to give up the Minato name shortly after Hikaru's birth. Oh, so she like never met him because he's like not around anymore. He was like exiled from the Minato family. Holy shit. As far as the old master is concerned, Minato men are just breeding stock. Yeah, I can see that. I'm sure he was only too happy to get rid of father once his usefulness has ended. Because, yeah, only like a woman can be the head of the family basically. That's what we like learned before. So they're like most important persons in the family here. Now he lives in Kamakura under his old name. Oh, he's still... They know where he lives, then why they are like not going to him? Are they like prohibited? They can be prohibited basically to this. Kamakura under his old name, working as public servant. This was true 1 year ago as well. And so Hikaru had never met her father. I believe he was allowed to see his daughter once just after her birth, but she couldn't possibly remember that. Huh. So... Kageaki probably knows where the father is, but he's like prohibited to tell Hikaru, and Hikaru just don't know it. I wonder if she knows that he's alive. Maybe she thinks like, well, he said like she didn't like yet met him, so Hikaru know that he's alive actually, but they cannot meet. And like me, with my occasional work trips, Hikaru had never been afforded the opportunity to visit him in Kamakura. Okay. So she's not prohibited. The old master would never permit the priestess to leave the sacred land for that. Okay, so she's not prohibited, but he's like, nah, you cannot go because you are too important to do that useless thing. Yeah. So it's not like she's like, you cannot go because this is not like, this is like, just no. It's like, no, because you're too important. So basically no because no. But no because important, no. What I'm doing in this episode? Norhead father even tried to visit her here. His busy job was a factor, I'm sure, but also think he knew what a fuss it would cause. Yeah, that's also like, he's probably like prohibited from coming here.
あの人は
However,
港家へ戻ってくることはもうあるまいが、吉野恩流宗師の立場を捨てておられない。
okay.
会えば技の手直しをしてくださる。
Grandmaster, huh?
お前が奥インカまで達したなら、宗師を継がせるおつもりだ。先日そう伺った。その折には、手紙のやり取りで済ませるようなことではないからな。
Yeah. Like he will have to like certificate her like himself basically. Just see what she can do.
あの人はこの家へ来られるだろう。
Yeah, so you will meet at some point. This wasn't intended as encouragement. If I thought it would act as such, I wouldn't have said it. The last thing I wanted was to make Hikaru more desperate. It was just a hopeful comment, born of my own desire to see Hikaru reunited with her father, if only for a short time. Either way, it didn't seem to have an effect. She looked away, her expression unreadable.
影明。光は父に会えるでは。
Yeah, I could expect that question.
ああ、
While giving a non-committal answer, I tried to work out the meaning of Hikaru's question. Her flat tone had made it difficult to grasp her true intent. I realized. Perhaps she's wondering if she will be able to complete the kabutawari and earn the master's rank. In which case...
必ず会えるだろう。
そうか。
With that blunt reply, Hikaru wiped the sweat from her brow, picked up the wooden practice sword, and launched into striking drills. The crisp sound of her blade, cleaving the air, beat a perfect rhythm against my eardrums. I smiled, watching her. There was the true Hikaru I knew. 1 year has passed since that day. Yet for some reason, I remember it vividly. A mystery of the human mind, perhaps. By all means, Hikaru's next attempt at the kabutawari should have left a far greater impression, but I find memories of that day foggy and vague, a blur in comparison. Yep, that happened. On that day, Hikaru clove the helmet in two. And that night, the sickness took her. Ooh. That was exactly the same day. Interesting. This helmet was from Tetsurugi, right? At the beginning. And I guess maybe it was from Shinoichi? So maybe it had some kind of curse on itself, so maybe it's not the poisoning from the metal actually. Maybe like some when she like cleaved that helmet in two, she actually took some kind of like curse on herself from this. What allowed her to perform such an inhuman feat? Even now I have no answer. Genius. Is that the only explanation? Perhaps so. Perhaps I should be satisfied with that. But still, it was supposed to be impossible. A mere human should never have been able to cleave through a Mishi forged steel. Yeah, so this was like Shinoichi helmet. Also, yeah, that's like that probably created a problem, and our like current Hikaru that we know, because she never learned how to back off, basically, how to give up. She just like never gave up her pride, and that's a problem for a character like this. Yes, the armor was dead, yet it had been split in half once before, but afterward it had been fully restored by the master blacksmith. There was no weakness that could have... Oh! Split in half once before. That's right, I do know. I know what makes impossible possible. Oh, Kagaki did the same?
Kageaki?
That was flashback of Kagaki! Wait, he don't remember that he split the helmet before? Maybe, what if he had the same illness that Hikaru have and no one told him, and he just don't remember that? What is this? The sound of my name snaps me out of my daze, and I turn to find my mother, looking at me with concern. And what she wants we'll learn in the next episode. Yeah, we're doing this episode a little bit shorter. I think this is the great place to end. We just got a flashback of Kageaki just splitting the helmet, at least that's what I think I saw. And I wonder what was that like flashback that he's fought, that he remembers. Like he knows what makes impossible possible. I wonder what it is. Wow. I hope you are as interested just as much as I am, and I will see you in the next episode, because wow, that was great. I did not expect this episode to be so good, to be honest. I thought like it would be like the more boring episodes or something, but it was like fucking amazing actually. So yeah, I guess thanks for watching the episode. Leave up your comments down below, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. So thank you once again, and for now, Pocket Watch is going out.